So we will start with Tuesday's Telegraph, Josh.
Yes, we have a picture of Rishi Sunak there, and it looks like he's using a toy screwdriver to do some DIY. That does look like a sort of...
Or it may be one of those very powerful glues, I think, possibly.
Oh, OK, I didn't know you were such a specialist.
I think he might be doing some gluing, yeah. I think
wow.
it's definitely a make-and-do session anyway, isn't it?
Well, they look like they're having a lot of fun.
Terrible anoraks. That's him and Hunt, Sunak Hunt.
Yeah, and their little sort of day trip actually doubled the manufacturing output of this country. So good for them. But the headline, of course, is Sunak pins hope on Thatcher tax package, which is the idea is that we will not be the most heavily taxed we've ever been since World War II. Might actually get some of our money that we earn.
That would be nice.
That'd be good. Now that I am actually earning money.
Would that be a particularly favourable tax package to small business people, employers,
yes, businesses. So yeah, businesses and and tax cuts are coming for rich people, which is great through inheritance tax. Yeah, is one of the things and. They're talking about raising the 40% income tax threshold. So, again, people who are earning lots and lots of money.
I think that would make sense, given that there's been a huge amount of inflation. A 40% tax threshold is not what it used to be, is it?
Sure,
exactly. I think also the truth is that, you know, corporation tax really does stifle it. I mean, if you're going to get taxed into the ground just as soon as you try and come up with anything, it is a bit miserable.
Well, I mean, tax rebates for investment, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because we're chronically underinvested in this country, and that money's been held back for years. Yeah. But what we're not really seeing is a lot, you know, it turns out they've got now like a 25 billion headway, windfall, whatever you want to call it. They've got some money to play with, basically, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be going necessarily to the people who might need it the most.
Earn it. That's the point. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, well, apparently he's trying to catch himself as the ideological heir to Thatcher, which is not very convincing. It might be in terms of policy, certainly not in terms of persona. But at least he's doing things like, cutting national insurance, which everyone wants, reducing inheritance tax, which isn't just for rich people, it affects loads of people, it's a horrible tax, income tax thresholds, which is important because of inflation, obviously putting, as you say, more people into that bracket. Yeah. It's not an election winner, really, to talk about fiscal drag and thresholds, because people want really more sort of headline-grabbing tax cuts. So that's his problem with the whole Rishi programme. It's a good programme for if you've got 8 years in government and you're saying, like, we're taking it very steady, we've halved inflation, now we're doing this, but is it enough to get him elected? And I've listened to the Dominic Cummings interview, you know, he just did that 2.5-hour podcast interview, and he talks about Sunak. He says he was really smart, really hard-working, and less interested in the theatre of politics and all the photo ops, although ironically he's now doing one, because the other thing he says is, but he's still in a system where you get caught doing all this nonsense and you can't affect real change. So that's, so it's kind of appropriate that he's there with Hunt doing some pointless...
I always felt that way about him, and I just don't think he is cut out to be Prime Minister, to be honest. I think he'd be a very good number two to almost... to Thatcher or whatever, but he just doesn't have an appetite for that.
As you say, he's presenting himself as the change candidate, and it's like, come on, after 13 years, that is not the way to do it. No.